Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at 5 winter objects I only used after moving to America. Wow, so America must need a lot of winter objects, you know? So let's see what these objects are. Let's see till the end. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel. It truly helps me out. Without further ado, let's get on with this video.
In England, I've never known weather that would sort of necessitate this kind of headgear. There's wind, but there's not sort of wind that brings along with it a wind chill of -1 billion.
Lost in the pond.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the weather. Of course, the weather in both countries at this time of year gets a little cold, and we as human beings have to survive. In order to do so, we don't just shut ourselves in our houses and stick the heating on high. I mean, we do that. In fact, I mostly do that. But there are other ways in which we survive, and that is through the use of winter objects. Growing up in England, I will tell you now, there were certain winter objects with which I was familiar, you know, sledges instead of sleds, or toboggans. Did the same thing, pretty much. And just thin woolen gloves and snowballs. They're not an object, that's just snow congealed. But after moving to America, I realized there were actually a plethora of different objects I'd never encountered before because I never needed them. And so what we're going to do today is we are going to go down 1 to 5, actually no, in reverse order, 5 to 1, and look at the very objects about which I'm speaking.
Let's check this out then.
Before we do get underway here, just a quick disclaimer and a recap. The disclaimer being that some of these objects may well turn up in England. It's just that I didn't have cause to use them back in England, and I don't think that I was an outlier in that regard. Whereas the objects I'm about to talk about are actually quite commonplace here in the United States as opposed to in England. Okay, so that's the disclaimer. And the reminder is, when I first moved to the United States, I moved to the American Midwest. Very specifically, I moved to the middle of Indiana. I've since moved on to Chicago. Of course, in both places and in much of the northern United States, snow and cold weather is absolutely paramount. That's probably not the right word. There's an abundance of it, shall we say. And we'll be looking at that as compared to the UK in a future video. But without further ado, let's take a look at 5 winter objects I didn't use until I moved to America.
Snow
this
shovel.
Is an interesting one. So shovels absolutely exist in the United Kingdom. It's just that they're usually used for shoveling dirt. And because of the sort of rare event that is snow, you won't usually find somebody purchasing what is referred to as a snow shovel that's sold as a snow shovel. Because there are differences between a snow shovel and a regular shovel. Yeah? It's usually size, because everything is bigger in America, and snow shovels are no different. And of course, snow itself is no different, at least here in the north. It was in my first winter here. My brother-in-law showed me how to use one. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh yeah, I've seen these shovels before, but I've never actually used them. But I've seen them before.
It does what it says on the tin. Just grab it by the handle and whatever that bit is, the neck, and do that and throw it. It's a lot of hard labour. Nobody tells you that going in. And my brother-in-law didn't tell me that going in, and I left with cramp in my arm. Ooh. Actually, it would have been very useful if you'd have told me about the next entry on this list, you brother.
Snow blower.
Unfortunately, just like the shovel,
I do not know about the snow blower. Let's check it out.
It's handy to show you because I rent these days. But they are absolutely brilliant. And again, I've only used one once, but it was the absolute coolest machine, literally, because it was filled with snow. But the thing is about it, it's not filled with snow. I mean, it is temporarily, but what you do is you just push it along like this, right through the snow, and it just pushes all of the snow.
Seriously?
About to the side. Usually hits family members, brother-in-laws specifically. I did apologise at the time, and I still haven't spoken to him since. But they are absolutely amazing. We just don't have cause to use them much in the UK. You may see members of the council using.
Okay, it may be harder to use the snow blower, but it does its work, you know. But the snow shovel, probably much easier, you know. A lot of work, but easier to use.
But not actual human beings. So that was quite a revelation to realise that a lot of people had snow blowers just hanging around in their sheds. So, and the sheds were covered in snow too, so you had to use the snow shovel just to get into them, get to the snow blower. It was like it defeated the purpose entirely until you did the garden. Both of these come in handy when you're just trying to get through the snow and to your actual car.
Ooh.
We experienced this for about 8 years when we owned a car while living in Indiana, and I will tell you, one of the worst jobs during winter is shoveling the snow away from the vehicle just so you can get out. I mean, sometimes it gets 2 feet deep and, you know, you can't even see your car, much less get in it. And then once you've cleared all
That's
that away, you've
horrible.
still got to contend with the ice on the windscreens.
Yeah.
And you can either turn on the
That's a
car, heat it
pain.
all the way up and just sit for an hour until it all melts. That's not happening. Or something else you could do if you were in a rush, which was me most days because I slept through my alarm, is you could scrape all of that ice off with what is known as an ice scraper.
No way, bro.
Again, I think they have these in the UK, but they're only used really in very, very extreme circumstances. This is something that you will do multiple times every single winter up here in the Midwest of the United States. I know, I did it, and I got a return to that arm cramp that I got from the shovel. It is just one long winter of arm cramp. I will say this, though, there is something quite pleasing about that. If you're wearing the right gloves and it's not too cold out, never do the ice scraping without gloves because you'll regret it 5 minutes after getting into the car.
Listen.
But if you've got gloves on and you're doing that, it is quite cathartic. You know, so long as you don't break the windscreen. Sometimes it feels like you are doing that because you're scraping off basically ice, which can look and sound like glass.
Yeah,
and
true,
then
true.
once you've scraped off all the ice, right, and there's just bits of powdery ice on the windscreen and bits of snow, the best thing then to do is just open the door and slam it, and you just cause this sort of little avalanche on the car. So long as you don't cause an actual avalanche. You know, if you're living in the mountains, just be careful. I mentioned there gloves. It is very important to have good gloves, but equally important while you're wading through all of this snow is our fourth entry.
Winter boots.
I truly didn't believe how bad it was going to get in the Midwest until I actually saw it with my own eyes. So after doing all of the shoveling or the snow blowing or the scraping of the ice, I realized that I'd made the mistake of wearing sneakers in the snow the whole time. Don't do that because there's a number of reasons. Firstly, the snow gets inside your shoe. You don't want that. And also, it's just cold and wet all round. So you need to be able to keep your feet warm. I think that's almost the most important.
Like for me in winter, like boots are a must, you know. I cannot walk around in the snow with just sneakers. I need them boots, you know, because if snow gets in your shoes, bro, that is nasty. That is terrible.
Important thing
You
because
do not want
those are
that.
the things that are going into the actual snow. So to do that, you have to have one of these. Well, not one.
Exactly.
You need two. They would be really silly if you only had one. It's a boot, but look at it. It's bigger than me.
It's warm as well. Look at
I
that.
have to get inside this. It is, you do feel protected. I feel like a foot soldier when I'm wearing this. And I do have another one just for the record. It's right here. Sorry, they've not been cleaned since last winter. I'll get round to that. Put one of them down because they are cumbersome and heavy. Arm cramp, again, arm cramp is the thing that happens in winter. But they are absolutely amazing, and they do keep your feet warm. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And if you're ever set upon by an enemy, just kick them between the legs with this, and they'll never come after you again. It's really, though, two boots. It's this black boot right there that you see, but inside it is this sort of... I'm going to pull it out. Look at that. It looks like a wrestling boot. I've never noticed that before. Again, if somebody comes at you, just pretend you are Ric Flair. Put that down. They're really good. I love them. I've had these 2 years. Absolutely need them in Chicago, especially if you're cycling in Chicago. That's nuts. Who does that in the snow? I did last winter. I'm a brave soul. I wouldn't be quite as brave, though, if I didn't have the final entry on this list.
What's that? Face shield.
So this is a face shield, and you know what? It's important.
You do need this. Keeping your whole face warm, totally. You need this 100%.
The important job is that not only does it sort of keep snow off you and things like that, the important thing that it does is it keeps the cold wind, the harsh wind of Chicago off you. It also keeps those people that come at you off you. They'll think you're a Bond baddie and call MI6 or something. I don't know why I'm wearing this. Sorry if it looks terrifying. I'll take it down because there's no wind in here. I don't really need it, and actually it's making it very hard to breathe, which isn't good when you're trying to present a video. But this is one of the best acquisitions I ever made as an athlete here in Chicago. I'm not an athlete. I ride to work for recreation. I wouldn't be seen dead wearing this in England. There'd be no reason to wear this in England. You know, you don't want to wear one of these while it's raining. That's for sure, because it would just get soaked all round. In England, I've never known weather that would sort of necessitate this kind of headgear. There's wind, but there's not sort of wind that brings along with it a wind chill of minus a billion. I'm trying to think of a scenario in which you would need it. It doesn't quite go with the tweed hat. But I absolutely love it on me. My wife loves it on me.
I know.
What do you mean you don't? That's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me
Wow.
here in this new year. No live stream tonight as we would normally have on a Friday because I'm currently out in the winter weather, probably wearing this as we speak. New year, but same instructions. If you haven't had a chance to do so, please subscribe to Lost in the Pond by clicking my little bell. It's not that, it's just regular size. Everybody has the same one. And a big shout out to all my patrons, without whom none of this would be possible, from the writing to the research to the Bond baddie credentials. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so by going to patreon.com/lostinthepond. Anybody that does so will get access to my secret live stream, the first of which, of this year anyway, is coming on Tuesday. And
Wow. So those were the 5 winter objects that are a must, in the cold weather and snow. That was really helpful, actually. So I hope this was helpful for you guys as well. If you live in a cold sort of weather, hope that was helpful. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll be seeing you on the next video. Peace out.